So in this folder here that we've been looking at the XLS forms, I just made a new Google Doc. I think this is easier than typing in the bit.ly links. That wasn't working very well. So there should be just a Google Doc called link in this folder. So if everybody can open up this link Google Doc and then just click on the link inside of it, then we're going to use this for the next, this is going to be how to deploy the forms over Google Drive, okay? So, yeah, does everybody have this link file in there now? When you, rats. Okay, so yeah, I'll explain. I want to make sure everybody's using it or has it first. But the this link, okay, is to an XML file. So and I had this set up ahead of time just to save time. But from Encato, after we selected an Excel file and we said submit, then we were always using that preview in Encato, right? Well, if you actually want to get the X form itself, then what you do is you click on download X form and it saves an XML file. So for instance, we can do, yeah, let's just do basic math. I'm going to submit it, and then I can download my X form, and it pulled that XML file, right? So to deploy in Google Drive, what I need to do is put that XML file on Google Drive, and then I need to share it with everybody that I want to ultimately collect data on that form. I need to share that XML file with everybody who's going to contribute data to it, okay? So, and I'll go through the steps of how this works here. Okay, so let's go through the whole process then. So let's say I want to now deploy this Google Drive form here. So I'm going to open up number 8, Google Drive. Okay, and what we haven't talked at all about is this settings tab. So if you open up number 8 and then go to the settings tab, this is how you would deploy a form to be able to use Google Drive, okay? So there's a couple new things in here, and what's really important is this submission URL. And what this does is it points the submissions to a specific Google Sheet for publishing these data as people collect it. So I don't know how familiar everybody is with Google, but let's say that I have this this sheet here, and I want the data that we're going to collect to end up in this sheet. I can just right-click. I can say new sheet. Just make a new sheet. It doesn't matter. I've already done that, and it's called ODK Drive Example Data, right? This is where all the data is going to end up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this link here, which is a unique address to this sheet, and I'm going to copy that link, and then I'm going to go back to my XLS form, and in submission URL I'm going to paste that link in there. Okay, it can be any Google Sheet, it doesn't matter. It just has to have the right credentials. It has to be shared with anybody who you're going to receive submissions from. So in this case, what I've done is I've set this sheet up to be shared with anybody who has the link, and they can edit it because they're going to write data to this spreadsheet. Okay? So I've created a Google Sheet where I want the data to end up. I've changed the permissions so that every single person can edit it if they have the link. Then I've copied the link, and I've come back to my form and put it in this column called submission URL in my XLS form. Okay? And then I have this other survey already built out here. So what's your name? How many fingers do you have? Blah, 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 blah. There's some choices and then settings. Okay. Now, that spreadsheet or this Google Sheet, I have to convert to XML, right? So I'm going to download it to Excel. I'm going to find it in Encato. It's number 8. I'm going to submit. And I'm going to download the X form. Okay. So this X form, this XML file, is what I need to put onto Google Drive and share with all of you, right? If you want to contribute data to this, I need to share that XML file with you. So I have already put it on Google Drive, and I've already made a link to share it with you, and that's this link in this document. So if you, yes sir, yeah, maybe, yeah, ready? Yeah.
Okay, so it goes a bit fast for me. So you create a Google Sheet where you collect all the data.
Yep.
Then you cut and put that or paste that link where all the data is collected in the submission URL.
Exactly. Yep.
And then what's the next step?
Yeah, okay, so we have 2 sheets we're working with now. We have the one where we want the data to end up, and then we have one that just represents the blank form, right? So the sheet where we want the data to end up, we take the link from that one, and we put it into the sheet that represents the blank form in that submission URL. So we just paste that link in there. And then we take that form, the blank form, and we convert it to an XML. So all this is in these documents here too, and there's links for there's even a video I think about this one. Yeah, and then I need to make sure the permissions are set up in such a way that anybody can write data to that place where the data is going to go to, and people can have access to the XML file, which is the definition of the form. Okay. I think I sped up significantly there, but does anybody else, does that make sense, more or less? Does everybody have this link? Can we click on the link? When you click on it, something like this is going to come up.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's really, really important right now that you click on this little add to my drive thing, and it's going to add it to your Google Drive account. Okay. So it's going to take this form definition and put it onto your Google Drive. So does everybody have that link, and is everybody at this step where we've added it to your Google Drive? You good? Good. The link is in this document again called link. Okay, I'm going to keep going, assuming that everybody's with me. I'm going to say add to my drive. Okay. And now that file, that XML file, the blank form has been added to my Google Drive, okay? And then what I'm going to do is, has everybody done that? Is it good? Okay, now get your phones back out, right? And open up ODK Collect, because now what we're going to do is change the server that it's looking at. We're going to change it to be Google Drive instead of ODK Collect, or sorry, ODK Aggregate. So remember the, I'll turn this, oops, I need to screencast here, home, cast to screen. Okay, great. So let's back to the app here. So we're going to go to the settings button on the top right, the ellipsis, general settings, and then server. Okay, and in type, we're going to change that to be Google Drive, comma Google Sheets. Okay, and then whatever account that you were using when you clicked add to my drive, whatever account you were using, you need to select that account underneath your Google account lists. Okay? So that's really important. So in my case, I believe it was the Smartphones for Water one. Yep. Okay. So then go back out. And remember, does anybody remember what we do to get the blank forms now? There's actually a menu option for it. Yeah, we go to, yeah. That was a rhetorical question. I usually try to ask those, but yeah, get blank form. And what's showing up now, before that list was populated by what we had on our aggregate server, right? But now, like, my Google Drive account's showing up, right? But if you go to the bottom, it should show that XML file that I just shared with you. You see it? Yeah? Who sees this XLS form example? Yeah? It's good? Okay, so click on that, and then download it. Okay? So now what you've done is you've pointed yourself to a different server, right? Now it's Google Drive. You've said, I want to take this blank form and I want to copy it onto my phone, right? And so now you have this blank form that we created on your phone now, okay? So if I go to fill blank form, there should be a new one in there. Yeah, what is it called in there? Do you guys see it? ODK Drive Demo, version 1.0. Yep. And let's all complete that form. Okay, so I'm gonna click on it. It asks for my name, Lamo Dari. How many fingers do you have? 11. Definitely blue. Current date. Time. Take a picture of all you guys. Yes. All right. And save. Did yeah, what are you guys taking pictures of? You guys no, not of me. What's that? Yeah, so we're filling in the ODK Drive demo, version 1.0. Oh, this is going to be great. So I have a nice picture of Juan Carlos here. Gracias. Yeah. How to do this is explained in more detail, but we're having to go kind of quick so we can. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So then at the very end, it's going to say something like, yeah, do you want to save this form or something at the end? Just say save and exit. Okay? So, right, what happens after you say save and exit depends on those settings. Remember the settings for form submission? If we set it to auto send, then it's already gone. But if we set it to manual, right, then I have to physically go and send that form now. Okay, so it depends on how you're set up. But if you get back to this main menu here, you're going to want to go to send finalized form. And just as an aside, let's say I made a mistake in that. One of the benefits of having it on manual is I go, oh man, I really messed up on this one. I actually have 10 fingers and not 11, right? So I need to, I don't know why this isn't working. Well, typically you would go in here and edit it. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, okay, no, I don't have 11 fingers, I have 10. Yay, so they get to the end and save it. Okay, so now it's edited, it's correct, and now I can go to send finalized form. So I'm going to check that form and then say send selected. I call this the demo bug. Whenever you try to show people something, it never works. Demo bug, squashed. Ah, nice. Okay, yes? Ooh, maybe you had auto send on. So it might have already gone. Can you check the settings? I could check. We can go look and see if it's here. Is something from Co here?
Yeah, I give Nico.
Hey, look. Yeah. Well, I don't know. This is maybe you. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that, Co. Sorry. But, okay, oh, they're coming in. Bonafshade, Sandra, Dennis. Everybody, well, okay. We have some interesting ones. Monica, where's Monica? ¿Cómo se dice? Okay. Yes, okay. Phalanges or whatever, so 20. Yeah, this one wanted to stay anonymous with M, but M only has 4. Yeah, we can do a little math here. I don't know if it's going to mess everything up if I start doing math in the sheet. I better not touch it. I'd say roughly 10.2, because that 20 really pulled as an outlier.
Yeah, I already said.
Yeah.
Is everybody who thinks they successfully did that, is everybody on this list now? Except for Ko? Sorry, Ko, it's not your fault. You sent it? Look, I'll look in a second. Yeah. Okay, so this is pretty easy, right? And the links, right? The pictures are represented as a link. And so, like, if I wanted to see what picture, let's see here. Let's freeze one column and one row. Okay, so I want to see one Carlos picture here. Oh, boring. No, just kidding. Okay, yeah. What did he do here? Oh, very nice. I should have asked permission. I am so sorry. This is a great picture. This is, I'm really sorry. I should have asked permission. Is there anybody else who would like to share their picture with the group? It was a lovely picture. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Ko. Yeah, let's check her picture. Yeah. Oh. Now, I don't see that object in this room. She used the choose photo option, right? Yeah? Oh, okay. Well, then she took a picture of the chocolate. That's what was surrounding her, I guess. So there you have it. So this is pretty cool. Again, it doesn't support repeat groups, right? And it doesn't support audio and video. But if all you want to do is record, text, numbers, do a little bit of math, pictures, this is what it's good for. But I think what you can tell is it's a little bit clunky in terms of the deployment. Like, you have to share a link to the XML file, then they have to add it to their drive, and then they have to go, right? So it's a few more steps. Like the first version we did, we just changed the URL, and then it just worked, right? So, yeah, but it's harder to set up an aggregate server, so that's the trade-off. Okay, yes? Yeah, you. Yeah.
This is sufficient for using Doom service by yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So you can just
exactly
get your own phone out.
Exactly. And that's why I showed you this, because like if it's you or it's like the 4 of us or even 10, this is perfect.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have to do repeats and it's just like an internal team, like in Nepal. Okay, so the repeats are like, well, the example would be if you have a whole bunch of springs and you want to measure all the springs at different sites, but you don't know how many springs there are. Maybe one site has 10, one has 1, one has 20. A repeat you can just set up to where you say measure the spring flow, take a picture of it, and then it's just this infinite loop where you can take a picture and measure the flow, take a picture and measure flow, and keep going with an undefined amount. Or you can define the amount instead of hard coding spring 1 flow, spring 1 picture, spring 2 flow, spring 2 picture. So it's a pretty handy thing for collecting repetitive data. Probably the best example I should have used was for infiltration, right? What we're doing in infiltration, what Sarah's doing, is we want to have a time series of the water level, right, in an infiltration test, and that might be 100 measurements. It might be 200 measurements. You're sitting there every 30 seconds typing in a new water level and the new time. And in that case, using a repeat is perfect because you just put in the time, water level, and then you end up with your curve. Yeah. So other than that, this is a really easy, great way to go, right? Any other questions? I can toss the box around here. All right, ready? Here it comes. Great. Sorry. I'll get better at throwing.
One question, if you have a more graphical form, is there a possibility that you edit the X form afterwards so you can put a logo on it or make it more beautiful?
Yes, yeah, that's definitely a drawback of this whole thing. Great. Is like, yeah, ODK is never going to look like the coolest app ever, for sure. In fact, you might say it's not even really close to cool, but but it works like really consistently on like almost any Android device you can throw at it. So that's a drawback, but you can customize stuff. So like this logo in the top right, that one, you can put in your own logo there. You can put images in. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, in the form, like the blank form. So that a user sees those pictures when they're filling it out. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Yeah, you can put photos in, exactly. Let me just, well, I won't show you now, but like we have certain things where we want to give instructions with a picture. So there's I think it was in one of the tests that we had to skip, but let me see if I can find it. And if I didn't, I was really dumb to not include media. Okay, so if we go to the last example, actually it's not even in there either. This is important. Give me 1 second to find an example. That would be in Nepal. And then data, ODK, forms. I think land use would be an example. Okay. So here's an example of a XLS form that uses pictures. And the way it works is you add a new column and you call it media. So let me find the media. There it is, media. So image, and then in there you just pass the name of the picture that you want to show, and then when you upload this form, you have to include all those pictures as well. So, and then it just throws the picture inside of the window. But it's not like, it doesn't look really great. There's all sorts of markup you can do. You can change the color, you can change the size of font type. We just kind of use the vanilla, like regular out of the box, but it's not great in terms of making a really nice looking app, but there are some options. Yeah, any other questions about that? Okay, so now is the time, what did we have on here? We're supposed to be collecting data. So if you're feeling ambitious, what would be really cool is just to think of a very simple workflow for yourself. Just something simple that you want to create. You can take one of these templates as an example. Just take it, modify it however you want. We only have like, maybe 10 minutes to do this, so you got to do it quick. And then go through the whole process that we just did to deploy it on Google Drive, right? And then go outside and use it to collect data. But what I'll ask you is I'd like you to do two things. I'd like you to both collect data on your own form, but then also go into the settings for server and remember, change it back to the aggregate, and it should have it saved in there still. So you already have the form for this. So essentially 2 measurements. Go outside and use this setting to take a measurement with the S4W Nepal form, this one, of soil moisture. Okay? So outside, use the S4W Nepal version 1.0 to measure soil moisture, and when you submit that data, you need to make sure that your settings are set up to point to the aggregate server. Okay? But then, in addition to that, it'd be great if some of you wanted to make your own deployment on Google Drive and then go collect some data on that as well. Maybe add the GPS so we can see a map of it at the end, right? Is it clear? A little bit-ish? Yeah? I mean, I think having you guys do your own thing is a little bit ambitious maybe, but it'd be cool if somebody had the desire to do it. The other thing you could do is just set your server to S4W Nepal and go collect a whole bunch of soil moisture measurements outside if you want. But let's go do something though at some point. So, is it good? Okay. I'll be coming around and helping if people have questions. Yeah. Okay.